Hello and welcome back to Talk About Strange. You'll probably be able to hear that we're still getting some weather. It's quite windy outside, but the power's holding up so far. Knock on wood. We're hanging in there pretty good. I've been able to get some stories out to you. The feedback's been great on thank you contributors. Thank you subscribers and members who have commented on those stories and been sending out a lot of prayers and love and support on all this. We just really appreciate it. You guys are doing a great job. We're growing like crazy. We're getting a lot of purchases from the store. I announced earlier that to our early members, we're sending out a 10% additional single-use 10% discount code. So when you become a member, make sure you send me an email and I will send you that discount code. Rest assured, I'm not using those emails for soliciting or anything else. It's just simply for that. We got some other things in the works. We're going to do up a logo shirt with something along the lines of I shared my story on Talk About Strange or something along that lines. My daughter's working on that right now. So we got a lot of really cool stuff. I have again hear from a couple of our contributors from Europe sent in some stories. Remember our Peeping Tom alien story? Well, this is Sarah. She sent another story to us about her vacation where she had a little bit of a Nessie experience. So how cool is that? I mean, I was stoked to hear that. I never thought in a million years I'd be doing a Nessie story. So any more of them you guys got, send them in. I'd love it. So we're going to do that one. And then I have another story we're going to get to here. So we're going to do one at a time and then we'll get to that one, all right? But let me tell you about this one here real quick. We're going to get started. Nessie. Hello, Steve. It's me, Sarah, again. I've had some weird things happen over my 57-year life. The Beast of Basingstoke, Black Panther, and a few really good ghost stories. First of all, I love your channel and all the amazing, brave people it brought together. The last one had me in floods. Sorry about that. You guys do it to me all the time. Who knew that through you, a sister found a half-brother through the stories of two brave women? Bigfoot is not on my list of strange things that has happened, but give me time. I believe it. After lockdown, my ex and I decided to take our bus, the name for our camper van, you call an RV, and travel around Britain. Man, I'd love to travel around Britain. Didn't get off to a very good start. After the first night, we broke down. By October 2021, we found ourselves in Scotland, Fort Williams, on Loch Ness. Oh, God, I love that. That's awesome. We booked our tickets and boarded the boat. It was pouring down, so almost all of them went in on the boat. Only 4 of us braved the weather and was on the top deck. I was wrapped up in hiking boots, waterproof, woolly hat, and my camouflage poncho. No amount of rain was going to stop me. The loch was beautiful, brilliant, deep, and black. The Highland mist hung in the air over the tree line as the boat was on the return journey. All 4 of us spotted a wave heading our way, just one prominent wave. We checked for other boats, birds, etc. Nothing. We stood and watched as it came towards our boat. Went under and the wave reappeared again and carried on the other side, heading towards River Ness. It wasn't a wake from another boat and didn't disappear and integrate with the wake of our boat. I know what they look like. All of us looked at each other in shock and started laughing because none of us had the thought to film it or take a photo. We chatted and was happy that we got the Loch Ness experience that the 4 of us had shared, and no one could take that away from us. Like I said, we didn't take a photo, or so I thought. Here are 2 photos I found on my phone this Christmas when I was with my ex reminiscent about a trip. We are very good friends still. You could have smacked me in the face with a kipper when he came across them. When we came across them. Make of them what you will. If you read this story, thank you, Steve, Sarah. And here you go. Take a look. That is so cool. I see it in there. I see it. And that's indicative of what you hear all the time. You know, it's just a subtle wave or something like that you see, and as it's moving along the water underneath the surface. So you're lucky. You're lucky. I'll give you that. All right. So thank you so much for sending that to us. And yeah, feel free to share your other stories with us. I really appreciate it. Everybody appreciates it. That's fun. Man, I can live vicariously through you guys' travels. So I love it. All right, moving on to our next story we have here. I haven't even read this completely. I just started reading it, and as soon as I hit South Wales, I was like, oh my God, I got to do this. So we're going to have two of them, and I got to do it before the power goes out. All right, here we go. As I mentioned in comments of the Alien Peeping Tom video, I have a ghostly story for you. Feel free to write any parts necessary, as I sometimes do waffle. I have attached a photo of the property taken from Google Street Map. I forgot exactly which house we lived in at the time, but I do believe it was either 3 or 5. This is a supernatural account that took place many years ago, way back in the early 70s, when I was a little nipper. I will be 45 plus 8 next month. Okay. I don't acknowledge it the other way, as I don't look or feel it. Laugh out loud. Yes, I am that old. Ha ha ha. Right? First off, let me lay out the foundation for you. I was around 3, maybe 4 years old at the time. At this time, my parents had divorced maybe a year prior. I lived with my younger brother. He is approximately a year younger than me. My mom, and on the night in question, a friend of my mom's was stopping over. And just to clarify, the friend was my mom's ex-husband, Tony. Okay. But they remained good friends for many years afterwards, and yes, I meant just good friends. I grew up in Cardiff, South Wales. I love it, man. I'm getting stories. We are getting stories from all over the world. We're meeting and talking to people from all over the world. I never expected that. Not in a million years. It's just so amazing. At this point in time, we lived maybe a couple of miles from the city center in a rented 3-bedroom terraced house with the local city council. My brother and I shared 1 bedroom. My mom had another, and Tony, whenever he stopped over, had the 3rd bedroom. The house we lived in was originally a council house, or what you would call social housing. And before my parents divorced, they were buying the house off them. When they split up, my father gave the written permission for my mom to take over the mortgage. For details regarding this later. Now, I'm sure you are aware that generally children under the age of 10 are pretty much in tune with the psychic side. They can see many spirits, whereas older children and adults cannot, as they tend to lose the ability. There is a general consensus that it is possibly that many of young children's invisible friends may actually be spirits. Yeah, I believe that. Absolutely believe that. I have no memory of what occurred at this point. So this story basically from what my mom had told me many times over the years. During that time we lived there, from what I've been told, on many occasions both me and my little brother used to see the spirit of an old fat man in one particular corner of the kitchen, as well as the exact corner in the bathroom directly above the kitchen. On other occasions, we used to just see the man's dog, and other occasions we would see both the man and his dog together. Oh, and the bathroom above the kitchen was our bedroom. Now, I don't know what, if anything, the spirit of the old man may have said to us during his occasional visits, but needless to say, we obviously didn't like seeing either one of them. From what my mom has told me, whether he appeared in the kitchen, it would usually be when we were sitting at the kitchen table. So I would assume this would be during our dinner or supper time when he appeared. Our usual responses was, "Go away, man, go away." And if the dog appeared, we would be like, "Go away, dog, go away." This used to freak her out back then. My mom didn't know much about the psychic side of things, even though she used to, on an occasion, have psychic dreams. These she just used to call her funny dreams. Anyway, eventually my mom had the feeling that the spirit man was trying to get to us for whatever reasons. So what she did to try and stop this was to move me and my little brother out of this bedroom and put us into hers. In other words, we all swapped bedrooms. One night following this, after Mom had gone to bed, was when the shit started to happen. The spirit of the man was obviously pissed at my mom for swapping bedrooms and decided to take matters into his own hands. I am sure you know what an astral projection is. Well, this spirit gave her what is known as an individually astral projection. In other words, it was totally against her own will. From what I can gather, during any time of that astral projection, if you see, sense any dark clouds gathering around you, you must get back into your body. If you don't, you die when the dark cloud meets in front of you. Whoa, really? Well, I don't know how long her astral projection lasted for, but during the time it had occurred, she was floating above her sleeping form, and she eventually saw these dark clouds gathering around both sides of her, and somehow just knew that she had to get back into her body. Don't forget, during this time she was asleep, or at least her body was. At this point, she said she couldn't breathe or at all. My mom said the sensation was like if you were diving at speed down the motorway and you had your head sticking out of the window. Oh, yeah. Okay, I get that. The wind takes your breath away. You have all the rushing air blowing into your face and you can't take a breath. Exactly. This is the closest description she can give. At this point, I must go off on a tangent, but this will become obvious why. When my mom was born back in 1943, she was actually born dead. Oh. Whoa. Okay. When she was born, the midwife saw she was dead and put her body to the side and started to concentrate on my grandmother. One of the keen-eye midwives or nurses spotted my mother's tiny body twitch. She picked her up and realized she was having trouble breathing. I'm not sure what she did, but obviously she succeeded in getting her tiny little body to breathe. Right, back to the story. My mom has stated that this whist in the involuntary astral projection, she did look down at her body and her body was curled into the fetal position. She also states that she couldn't breathe at all. She believes that during this time the spirit was aiming to try and kill her, or in a very least attack her. The spirit basically put her back into the time of her birth, literally like it was saying you survived your birth, but you won't this time. Anyway, of course, at this point, she was totally panicking because 1, she couldn't breathe. 2, the dark clouds were getting closer and closer to meeting. She said she was trying all sorts of things to try to breathe and nothing worked. For whatever reason, she started blowing raspberries, sound effect. And thankfully, this worked. During that time, she started to breathe. Her spirit, essence, soul, whatever you want to call it, jumped back into her body. She then woke up and was in an awful state. Tony came rushing into the bedroom as he had woken up, hearing her moaning and thrashing in her sleep. I think that maybe he thought she was having a real bad nightmare. By all accounts from Tony, he said she was deathly pale and looked totally terrified. We promptly gathered up our belongings and moved. Temporarily, we went to stay at Tony's sister's, Sheila. She lived nearby. We had been staying at Sheila's for a few weeks, and my mom had contacted the council about getting a new property, explaining just how badly it was haunted. But they didn't believe her. The council would not give her another house because, as they deemed it, she made herself homeless. Irregardless that she had 2 small toddlers too, my mom decided to take the case to court. Now, regarding the mortgage, at this time, women were not allowed to buy a house of their own. Remember, this was the early 70s. Prior to their divorce, my parents were originally buying this house from the council. Following the divorce, my father gave her written consent for my mom to take over the mortgage. Tony was also willing to go guarantor for her, as he was working and had a very good job, but this was rejected. From that point onward, they allowed us to stay there and just charged us rent. Anyway, now because we had moved out, the council wanted to take the house back because I said previously we made ourselves intentionally homeless as far as they were concerned. Thankfully, during the court case, the judge was on my mom's side. He was obviously disgusted with how the council acted, especially since as she had 2 small children. Mom even told the judge about the goings-on in the house and what eventually accumulated to her moving out. The manager of the council housing department was also present in the court, and the judge tore him a new one about the council's actions. He told him he wants to see them put her in a new home in months' time, and if he hasn't, they'll be dragging him back into the department, into court, and will not go well for them. He turned to my mom and told her to go straight from the court to the council's office. After this, she did say the manager walked into the council's office a few minutes behind her and took my mom into the office and sorted out the paperwork. Approximately 2 weeks later, he contacted my mom and asked her to come for a drive with him, but really wouldn't say much more than that. After maybe 10-15 minutes of driving, he drove into an estate that she wasn't familiar with. This was out in the suburbs. They went into the house that was currently being decorated by their workmen. After showing her around the house, and by the way, she was still pretty clueless as to what this trip was all about, he turns to her and asks if she liked the look of the house. Of course, she said, yes, I like the looks of it. It's really nice. He said, great, this is your new house. And as soon as the decorating was finished, she would have the key. Nice. We lived in that house for 8 years before moving to another new house on another estate to be close to one of my mother's sisters. That was in 1983. And yes, we had plenty of great memories in that house. Oh, and one of the other things, due to the nature of the court case, it turns out that our story appeared in a local newspaper because it turns out that a journalist had happened to be sitting in the court case on that day. Awesome. So I love a good story. Oh yeah. Check out this. So this is where you lived, huh? One of these places here. That's kind of neat. But it all sounds like it worked out. So the kitchen spirit there, angry kitchen spirit, ended up getting you into a nice newer place. So I'm glad it worked out for you. Thank you so much for sending that in to us. It was another great story. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. All right, so yeah, we're going to get to some other stories here real soon. I'm going to get back to work. For now, that's it. I will see you again really soon. Thank you.